Whatever you do, you can make an impact in the world. You can share Jesus anyway, even if you're in business. You don't have to be going overseas, or maybe that's your calling, which then that's what you need to do. But I felt like my calling was in business, where I can renovate and restore houses to transform lives and also create a better city so people can prosper.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to What Matters Media. My name is Matthew Baker. This is my dog, Jackson. Today, we had Ezra Smucker on the channel. What a great dude. He's a business entrepreneur, and he tells us a little bit about his journey of starting his company at 19 and how he feels called into what he's doing by the Lord and how he keeps pushing forward in that. So if that's something that resonates with you, I hope you stay tuned. Thanks. How's it going, Ezra?
Pretty good.
Thanks.
Excited for my cut.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming out here from Harrisburg. I met you through, I don't even know exactly when I met you, but I met your brother first.
Yeah.
We were doing some work at this ministry while Tannen was on here a couple months ago or something, maybe weeks. I don't know, whenever this will come out. And then eventually I connected with you. I don't even know.
I remember our first time we connected.
Okay, when was that?
It was at Panda Express at Giant with Ben.
Oh
remember
my
that?
gosh, that is funny.
I was shopping, and then you guys were there. You and Ben were there getting Panda Express, and Ben's like, "Hey, you know Matt?" And I'm like, "Nope."
That's great.
And then at Serge's wedding.
Yeah, Serge's wedding.
And something else. It was a fire night or something.
Yeah, I just feel like I just randomly see you. I'm just like, oh, what's up, dude?
Yeah.
We never connected quite as much as we even have in our pre-interview, which was funny. So you own a company. You're a partner with another guy in another company.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit about what you do, but I'd love to hear more of the why you do it.
Yeah.
But just give a little background.
Yeah, for sure. So I started Equitable Builds in 2020. 1/1/2020, so
nice.
right before COVID happened.
Dang, yep.
And originally, like when I started my company, I was thinking about just flipping houses.
Yeah.
But I bought my first house, and
that was my technical first date too for my company, so that's pretty cool.
Nice. So basically, I bought my first house, and then COVID happened, and I was like originally I was like, I'm gonna flip a bunch of houses, and COVID happened. It took me forever to finish the house.
Yeah.
And then the neighbors nearby were like, hey, we need this done. Can you redo our porch? Can you replace our windows? Can you do this and that? Mm-hmm. And they're like, we have a friend that needs this done. And I was like, sure. And then from out of that, like basically I started doing more work for clients because I wasn't sure, like bought my first house and I wasn't sure what was going to go on in the world with COVID.
Yeah.
And so took on a lot of projects with clients, but then gradually I bought another flip and did that. And just slowly bought more houses and renovated houses. And then I mean, more or less my mission is to now renovate and restore houses in the city. As that's what I want to do. It's not really, we do work for clients, but we don't do as much. You know, we try to focus on renovating, restoring houses on our own. Yeah. And then refinance them. So that's kind of what we do.
That's cool. And then you can use them as rentals, right?
Yeah, we rent them out. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So we also have done a few commercial projects in our company as well. We built Chutes and Ladders playground in Harrisburg, Reservoir Park.
That's neat.
We helped build that. That was for the city of Harrisburg, which was fun. So we did some commercial work as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it was kind of cool. You said you saw Josh Yupa's episode on house hacking. You said you kind of live in one yourself, which is cool.
Yep. So I'm house hacking as well, trying to save money. You know.
Yeah, man, that's so cool. And so your brother, like I said, I met your brother first, and he's an electrician. And then you're doing more general contracting of it, all sorts, right?
Yeah. We do, kitchens, full house remodels, bathrooms, exterior remodels, and interior remodels, concrete work, We do pretty much anything. So we'll GC, general contractor.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's cool. And what's cool to me is that came out of doing, it kind of came, I mean, you were pretty young, so it was kind of time that you started doing something professionally.
Yeah.
But before your professional life started, you really started to experience God, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just tell me a little bit of the background of what started to transform your life that you like, wow, Jesus is gonna help me decide what I do.
Yeah, so in 2017, my life changed a lot. I stopped hanging out with the friends that I used to hang out with, and then I kind of I got in this area where I was feeling depressed,
Yeah.
and so I didn't really do much and just hung out with like my sisters and brothers, and but still didn't really have any social life. So I was kind of, and I think it's important to have social life and have community. Like you need community.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of feeling depressed over that one period of time. And then my sister, Linda, she invited me to Threshold Church in Lancaster.
Okay.
And that was the moment when I experienced God, and I was like, I want what those people have, or what the community had there. And so
Now
that sparked a flame in my soul.
Yeah, when you said like I wanted what they had, was it weird at first, or was it like
It was
just like what was it? Was it just that it was different? How could you tell that like this was something?
Well,
you wanted?
they had the joy, and they cared, like they actually cared.
Yeah.
And you just knew that whatever they carried, I wanted. So I didn't even know if it was real or, fake, but it's obviously real. And so yeah, that was the moment when I was like, I want this. And so I got invited to Life Center, and then because that was a little bit closer for me,
Yeah.
because I lived in Millersburg at the time.
Okay.
And so I got invited to Life Center, so I would go to Life Center regularly. And then in the spring of 2018, I got baptized at Life Center, gave my life to the Lord, and that's like from there, like I kept exploring.
Yeah, man.
Then I did a DTS with YWAM.
Yeah.
So
Our discipleship training school
yeah,
out there. Where was it at?
in Newcastle, Sydney area
Okay.
in Australia.
That's awesome. And that's where you, we were talking, I just had Serge on the other week, and you met him there, right?
Yeah, so crazy.
I want to hear about that.
I didn't know Serge at the time. So I had another friend that I met at YWAM, Lexi, who knew Serge's sister.
Okay.
And we went to Awakening Australia, which is a conference type event. And I think there's like 30,000 or 40,000 people there. It was packed.
Yeah.
But Serge happened to be behind me, and he tapped me on the shoulder. And because he said that he felt that like the Lord said that he needs to talk, like say hi to me. So he tapped me on the shoulder and he said, "Hey, what's up? My name's Serge." And I was like, "Yeah, my name's Ezra," and that's all that happened that time. And then the next day, I see my friend Lexi had posted a picture of Serge on her Instagram. I was like, "Wait, you know him?" And then randomly, I ran into him like a couple hours later.
Oh man.
With like just him, and there was like 40,000 people there. And then I was like, You're from Lancaster?" I'm like, "I'm from there too." And so we got to talking, and we hung out the rest of the day. We went and evangelized, and we were hanging out, and that's how I got to meet Serge. So it was like a wild story.
That is so wild.
You go to another country, and you meet someone from the same area, and to this day, I still, I'm connected with Serge, so it's pretty cool.
That's so neat. Yeah, I had did you know who Trevor Heinrich was? Did you ever meet that guy?
I do not know.
He was one of my friends that a few years ago passed away of cancer, but I met him.
I think I've heard of him though.
Yeah, he was
young, right?
Yeah,
yes,
he walked
young.
across the United States.
Yeah.
Crazy
wild
dude.
story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such an amazing dude. And he's from Lancaster.
Yeah.
And I met him in California. I was kind of like, we became connected through that. So it's so funny when you meet someone on a totally different, I mean, Australia's even crazier.
Yeah.
But when you're just in a totally different place.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh wow, This is like just set up,
Yeah.
for a good friendship.
Yeah.
So cool, man. And coming out of that conference, coming out of that place, I mean, you couldn't have been the same coming home.
No, definitely. So with YWAM alone, I feel like YWAM had taught, like, I learned so much about the Lord and grew in relationship with the Lord and understanding who He is and understanding His character. And also, it's like I was able to step out in faith in multiple different ways in evangelizing and in a lot, like we went to third world country, went to Papua New Guinea, went to Sri Lanka, and got to experience different cultures through that, which, that alone was life-changing in itself.
Yeah.
And doing that at a young age, I think, is very important, and it taught me a lot. So, yeah.
Man, that's wild. And you pretty much started your business when you were how old?
So, came back in 2019. I started my business when I was 19.
Wow.
And I was pretty much fresh back from YWAM, and I had no money. And, I felt like the Lord wanted me to do business. I didn't feel like He wanted me to go back into missions, but your mission can be in business. It could be impacting people's lives, just transforming houses or transforming, the city.
Yeah.
So you can, serve the Lord in that way. And then from there, I continued to build a business and have a passion to build a business.
You had no money, right?
No money, yeah. So came back from YWAM with $700 in credit card debt. Like,
oh man,
I thought that was
negative.
I thought that was a lot.
Yeah.
And I guess as a 19-year-old kid.
Yeah, when you're not making that.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you come up with it? It's just like
I don't
a lot.
know. It takes forever to pay that off.
Yeah.
But I started out with $700 in credit card debt. My brother Chris gave me a loan to buy my first truck. And so he gave me $5,000. I bought my first truck. And then I went to the bank and asked for a loan for tools.
Yeah.
And then I they gave me a loan, and I bought tools using that loan. And then I paid my brother off with that loan as well.
Okay. And
that's how I got started. And so
Dang.
I didn't have much money. I bought my first house with like $1,000 down.
Wow.
And it was all like God in everything. Like the people I met along the way, like that helped me grow my business and start my business.
Dude, that's so wild. You said like you knew that full-time ministry, the way you had experienced it overseas and with these different people, wasn't your call. How did you kind of get into the construction field? Was that just something you knew and you're like, well, this is just how I do it? Or how did you decide to make that jump to start your own business? Yeah,
so I started doing construction when I was 15 years old.
Okay.
So at an early age, I've been doing carpentry and construction. Started building, like I worked for a custom home builder. So we built homes from start to finish.
Yeah.
And so like we did pretty much everything in the house. We subbed some stuff out, but through that I got to learn how to do a lot of different things.
That's great.
And then, I was like, I wanted to experience the world. So, thankfully I did that at an early age. I went to Australia, and then I came back, and I felt like you should be able to be a fully self-funded missionary. And so then, I started doing research, and then I found bigger pockets, and then, I was looking into options, like, but I didn't have any money, so I was like, I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, I guess got to work hard. So, I was working hard, but even if you work hard, it takes years to get enough money to buy a house on your own.
Yeah.
And so, like, without the help of other investors, I would have never been able to get started.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So when did it change over to your mind of, I'm going to start making money so I can do ministry, to this is my ministry?
I think like a couple years in. So like in 2019, I decided to start my business. And then like, I would probably say in like 2020, end of 2020 is when I was like, this is my ministry, is like where I can renovate, restore houses and to transform lives, and also create a better city so people can prosper.
Yeah.
I feel like, everywhere, whatever you do, whatever sphere you're in, you can make an impact in the world. You can share Jesus on any way, even if you're in business. You don't have to be going overseas, or maybe that's your calling, which then that's what you need to do. But I felt like, after I came back, that my calling was in business.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what that looked like in the beginning. When I started my business, it was just me not making a big impact. It's like I couldn't do much because I didn't have much resources, right?
Yeah.
So
What was your kind of prayer life looking like, or what was kind of your talking with God looking like in that time of your life? Was it
after YWAM?
Yeah, starting your business, you're kind of starting to transition into your mindset of, this is ministry in itself.
Yeah. So I feel like, I listen to a lot of podcasts, Christian podcasts, and just different podcasts and books. Chris Valentin had a big impact on my life, because he's talked a lot about business.
Gotcha.
And we went to Heaven and Business Conference in California.
Oh, that's cool.
In 2020. And so I think and I feel like I talk with the Lord. You can just talk with the Lord just like right now, you can go, hey Lord, like in your mind, and be present with him and have conversation with him. It can be, in your mind or out loud. And the Lord, I feel like if you believe in him and the Holy Spirit lives within you, you will he will give you the desires of his heart, So I feel like, that desire that was in my heart, I felt like it was the Lord.
Yeah.
So I feel that's how, you kind of you get a desire in the Lord. I was following the Lord, and the Holy Spirit lives within me. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, that's so cool. What have been some of the challenges of being a young business owner in the space that you're in, and tell me a little bit about how God's kind of helped you through that, practically.
Yeah, I think sometimes the biggest thing is you need to have confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
And whether you're I feel like as a young person that a lot of young people would lack, that they won't have the confidence in themselves. And I think I feel like having the Lord just gave me extra confidence. And so that's one thing. And also is it feels like a lot of people, some people don't respect you because they feel like you don't have the experience, which you don't have the experience, but they don't respect you. Which I don't know. A lot of it comes from maybe they failed in the past or whatever, but you just don't let it get to your head.
Or they knew where they were at your age, but they forget, or they don't know that you've been doing this since this is you were 15 doing this.
And not everyone knows that either, and it's not really everyone. Not everyone has to know. You shouldn't.
Yeah, you can't
judge people based off of 10 seconds of meeting them or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's cool, man. What's something that in your life, in some of what you've been growing through, you're 23, that's I'm super encouraged by you, because I'm 28 and I feel like I'm getting to the place that you're at now, which is fun. But also what are you looking forward to right now in your journey? What is something that you feel like the Lord's been putting on your heart of, okay, this is something I want to start digging into? Maybe you feel like he's been giving you direction on it yet, or maybe you're man, this is just something I'm curious about.
Yeah, so I really have a heart for the city of Harrisburg. I want to see it transformed. I want to see the city prosper.
Yeah.
I want to see entertainment, good entertainment for families, for kids, and I want to see good housing opportunities for other people. So really, that's what motivates me and drives me to complete that. Whether it's probably won't happen. It might take 5 years. It might take 10 years. But to see the city of Harrisburg prosper, that's what motivates me and drives me to do what I do.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And what's neat to me is something I've thought about for a while, and I feel like I've been a little bit transient in my vision of where God's going to kind of plant me fully for a long time.
Yeah.
But I'm right here in Hamburg right now.
Yeah.
And there's other people that I see also being like, hey, we want to make Hamburg like a place where people can kind of like thrive, like what you're saying about Harrisburg.
Yeah.
And I remember hearing Tannen talk about that, and I hear other people in my life talk about like just passion for an area.
Yeah.
How did that kind of develop in you? Because you're a Lancaster guy, you know?
Well, I grew up in Millersburg, right?
Oh, Millersburg.
So,
Okay, yeah.
I mean, I love Lancaster. And
Where
I
is
think
Millersburg right in the middle, or where is it?
Millersburg is up north. So like,
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I know where that is again.
So
Me and Alex,
that's-
the guy behind the camera, we went canoeing on a canoe trip up there, right, Alex?
Insert footage here of Matt's dog barking the whole time.
Okay, yeah. So that's kind of your closest
yeah.
city. Okay,
So yeah,
cool.
Harrisburg was, but like growing up, everyone would say, "Don't go to Harrisburg. Harrisburg's crazy. People are like, there's shootings, there's violence. Like,
Yeah.
stay out of there. You know, just don't go there. You'll be safer not going." But I feel like, you know, everyone said that, and I like if everyone says that, then they're influencing the outcome of it, right? So
Yeah.
why don't you speak life over it instead of
Yeah.
basically like there's just shootings and there's all these things, it's dangerous. Like why don't you go in and make a difference in that area? And so
Yeah.
like, you know, I love Lancaster City. I haven't seen Lancaster City like 10 years ago, but 10 years ago it was like bad.
Yeah.
And they like, I don't know, people have transformed that city in a short period of time. And so oftentimes people say, well, they want to move to Lancaster because that's the best place to be. It's safer, right? All these things. But I mean, yes, you want to live in a safe neighborhood, but how can we create a safe neighborhood? How can we make a safe neighborhood?
And there's people in Harrisburg that need safety, that
Yeah.
can't get out of there.
Yeah.
Like there's no, oh, well, I could just move to a safer place.
Yeah.
Like there's people that because of their financial place, because of different like life experiences, there isn't a way to experience, you know?
Yeah.
So it's cool to be a part of saying, hey, we want to beautify it. We want to bring people in, but we want to care about the people that are here too.
Yeah.
And even just like the way you're creating housing and stuff.
It is always tough because when you add value to places, you're increasing the value of the property, you're increasing
Yeah.
the rents. But you said the question is like, how can we make people afford this, and how can we create better jobs? And
Yeah.
you know, because we want to make things better, but in order to make things better, it does cost more money, and cost of living goes up.
Yeah.
So it's like, how can we provide a solution that also increases the jobs? You know, like
Yeah.
increases wages.
Dude,
or
yeah.
like it's tough.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you feel bad by going in and transforming it because you know the prices are going to go up, but you need to do that because some people live in areas that they, you know, in houses that they shouldn't be living in. It's like they have feces all over the floor, and the roof is
Yeah.
leaking. There's mold all over the house, and all these things that cause health conditions and problems for people. And then they're like get depressed and unmotivated, and you know, they don't know any better.
Yeah. And something that I saw through, because I haven't obviously done any work with you, but I've done it with Tannen. I've seen like, I remember we were helping clean up some trash in one of the areas, and some of the neighbors came out, and they're like, "Hey, can we help?" You know, like when the people like see something becoming more beautiful, they find more value.
Yeah,
and pride in what they're around.
Yeah,
Not everybody, but you see that start.
Yeah, I agree. People will take a little more ownership of the space.
Yeah. And I love that you even brought up like, hey, we understand that we don't just want to gentrify Harrisburg.
Yeah.
We want to transform Harrisburg.
Yeah.
And like allow people to actually that are here to be able to have jobs and be able to be in this space and not be just pushed out, but like you said, problems are not are not just as simple as they seem.
No, if you try to fix one problem, then you create another problem, basically.
Yeah,
And then you got to
yeah.
fix that problem. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's like there's always going to be something that you need to, like, some problem that you need to work on or, you know, create a solution for.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And I think what motivates me, because I feel like some people might hear that and be like, that's hopeless then. You know, what are we doing? But I think for me, my hope is in Jesus,
yeah.
and that he is the only answer that is actually going to bring lasting change.
Yeah.
And he's the only one who actually can redeem things,
Yeah.
not just move around messes. And so like when we're doing what you're doing and just saying, hey God, this is where you have me, this is how you've equipped me, I'm just going to walk into that and ask you to help guide me,
Yeah.
then that's when change happens.
Yeah, for sure.
That's lasting.
Yeah.
And that's
No,
super cool.
I agree. Yeah, for sure. I agree.
So we're getting towards the end of the haircut here. To make it do kind of what the picture does, need a little bit of product in your hair, which I'm guessing you put some product in your hair?
Yeah, I do.
So this is without product. How's this kind of looking for you? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, if you can just, I guess, maybe trim this up a little bit more.
Yeah, sounds good, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to the top or to the front a little more than that. So as we kind of finish this up, so one question I've been asking that I really like is, and it's funny because you're 23, so this isn't talking to too far back in your life, but what's some piece of advice you would give to your 20-year-old self?
I mean, that was just like 3 years ago, so.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think of. Sometimes I feel like I'm like 30, but I'm only 23, which is fine. You know, I bought my first house when I was 19. And sometimes I even think back today as like, I wish I would have bought my house as soon as I could have, like 18, right? But
Yeah.
but it's like always what if, you know? But it's
Yeah.
like I would encourage like, for sure if you're young, take that leap of faith and buy a house. You know, it's like, make sure it's a good investment. Don't get emotionally attached to it.
Yeah.
But make sure you can buy a house that's a good investment because it'll set you up for life. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
that's how wealth is created, is through real estate and acquiring real estate. So like, you know, I did buy houses when I was 20, but I wish I would have bought it earlier on. But you know, it's like you can always be like, well, what if I would have bought a house when I was 18? But I hear stories of some people buying houses when they're 18 and 19. It's like, and I did that, but it's like, dang, you know, 18 is about the youngest you can buy a house unless your parents are involved in the transaction.
Yeah.
So I would definitely say, you know, take that leap of faith and you know, buy that investment property and don't get emotionally attached to it, because when you have your emotions tied into it, it won't, you know, you'll make a bad investment sometimes anyway.
Yeah.
Because you might overpay for it so I would say that. And then, you know, I'm very grateful that I like went out and experienced and traveled the world, because that gave me, because if I wouldn't have done that at an early age at 18, I probably wouldn't have went, because I'd have been busy with work and things like that. So it's like, get out and about and do things while you're young, you know, you know, while you're 20, while you're 18, 19, you know, while you have nothing to worry about. You know, for me, when I started my business and bought my first house, if everything would have failed, I could have moved back to my parents. I didn't have anything to worry about. I didn't have a family.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, that's what I would say.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. How's that look for you, Ezra?
Perfect. Love it.
Thanks, Ezra.
Riz me up. You can leave that out. Just kidding.